driving versus driven dimensions, okay? So driving dimensions are controlling dimensions, okay? So they come from the 3D model. They're used to define all of our features for extrudes, revolves, etc. Okay? Driven dimensions are dimensions which are, effectively are like a reference dimension. They're not something that we can directly control. Like a driving dimension, we can go back and we say, hey, change this diameter from X to Y. We can. With a driven dimension, we don't have the opportunity to do that. It's just going to show us what it is. Okay, and there's some subtleties around that within Creo. So related to this very closely is the show model annotations function inside the drawing environment, which can allow us to quickly and easily show driving dimensions, so the dimensions from the model, into the drawing. Okay, so I'll have a look at that in a sec. Okay, we also in Creo, there is a concept of the active model. So drawings can have views or sheets which have different models in them. So we could have an assembly on one view and then subsequently have different sheets for all the different models, or even one sheet could have multiple models on it. Okay, when we're doing that and when we're trying to create those drawings, there is the concept of what is called the active model. And so if at any point in time we're trying to create a new view, no matter what sheet we're on, we might need to know what view we're going to create. Okay, so there are indications in the model tree that show us this once we have those sort of drawings. So back to Creo we go. All right, so let's open up the one for view orientations. All right, so view orientations. So this is just a view of an existing assembly. If it's not clear what this is, quickly just will show you. Okay, you might have seen this model over the years. It's been around for a while if you're a long-term Creo user. So with this model, if I'm just to double click on the view, once I've placed it down, we have the opportunity here to do exploded views. Okay, so if I choose the exploded view, in this case, there's a few different options for me. I'll just choose the first one to start with and I'll go apply. Okay, so if I look at that, yeah, you can start to see some more detail, but it's not really very clear. Typically what you'll do when you do a section view, an exploded view, you select or you create a view in the model that refers to that. So you can see there, I've just selected a different view orientation. Okay. And now that allows me to see that more clearly. I could balloon this, I could, it's much clearer. I can see the individual parts now. Now, some of this stuff can be done in the drawing environment, but realistically, you're better off to do it inside the 3D model. So, for example, if I, and just to open up the model here from the drawing again, if I look in the view manager and I look at these exploded views, I'm seeing the same. If I just click on those, okay, so you can see, I just might hide my planes here, sorry. And these are the different options that we saw in the drop down before. So I'm just double clicking them, and in some circumstances, you might want to show different configurations of explosion, or, if you're doing an assembly process. Okay, now, but when we look at that, we also have these orientations. So, we have that orientation, and so on and so forth. There's all these other ones. So we can create our own orientation. So let's say we wanted to create a new orientation, which is pretty much like this. We just say new, We'll call it demo, right? And then we'll go to the exploded view. We'll activate the engine. Okay, so you can see it's looking at that now. What we might do is like just quickly maybe move a component. So we're going to take that bolt and move it up there. We might take this and move it out there because we need more room on our drawing to do whatever we're going to do. Okay, we'll just save that. And we'll save that as well. Okay, and then we come back to our drawing. Okay, so we can either add another view, but let's just modify this one. So we'll use the demo view now. So that's the new view that I created. And you can see now that the position of those items is also updated. Okay, so I made changes in the model, but it's affected in the drawing, and that's the whole philosophy of PTC, about being model centric, trying to keep information as inside the models rather than inside the drawing.